and he's taking his daughter to a concert. Now, he is a phenomenal actor because he looked super chaotic, super psycho, and it was interesting because you want to understand why is he acting like this, and then you start understanding why because it explains later on. Hello everybody and welcome to the Nadia Gilmore Show. I know it has been a while since I've uploaded a video, but I promise I will do my very best to stay consistent and post every Saturday. It's been very choppy. I've had some school work and things like that everyone deals with, but I promise I will try to deliver more frequently. Anyway, so for today's video, I am going to be reviewing a movie called The Trap, and Josh Hartnett is the protagonist in the film, and yeah, I'm just gonna give you my honest review as to what I thought of the film. Okay, so I love a good thriller psychological film that really messes with your head in a way, and it makes you thinking about it for a while. So yeah, this was kind of like that. I will say after watching it, it's a good hour to 2 hours that it sticks with you and then it slowly wears off. Now, this movie wasn't that intense, but it was very interesting and it was something different, which I was super excited about because I'm sick and tired of sequels and prequels, and this was something different. I believe we've all been wanting something new in the industry, in the film industry, so it was really exciting to see something like that. It somehow gave me vibes of Talk to Me.
Put your hand on it. Not like hold it. Now say, talk to me.
I think that was like an Australian film. It's an A24 film, but it gave off those vibes for some reason. But yeah, so let me go down and talk about what I want to say. Okay, so first of all, the protagonist in the film, Josh Hartnett, I think. Hartnett. Okay, I hope I'm saying that right. So Josh Hartnett is the protagonist in the film, and he's like this dad, and he's taking his daughter to a concert. Now, he is a phenomenal actor because he looked super chaotic, super psycho, and it was interesting because you want to understand why is he acting like this, and then you start understanding why because it explains later on. I don't want to really spoil anything, so it's really interesting, and it does a lot of these cuts, which is popular in a way in film, where it's a close-up of the person's like facial expressions, or it'll be a close-up of the person's face, but it won't capture the entire face. It'll just have like half of the face or 3/4 of the face. I know in film sometimes they do that to mark the how long the film is going to be. So they'll have the face here in the beginning of the film, and then they'll randomly have shots of close-ups, and it'll keep moving down until the end of the film. I have to check to see if that's what they actually did, but that's very popular, so I wouldn't be surprised. And the second thing that I really wanted to mention was they were going to a concert. It was a father and the daughter, and I think her name was Raven, and she was an artist. I don't know if she's an artist in real life. If so, it would make sense why her voice was good, but the songs were actually good. They had multiple songs like she was performing, but they were actually good. Most of the time the songs in films are not that good because they don't really care. They're just like, oh yeah, they're an artist, it doesn't really matter if the songs are good or not. But the songs were actually decent. Like, I would look them up and listen to them. And for an instance, The Summer I Turned Pretty, Steven's diss track or whatever, that song was like terrible, which it's actually out on Spotify, which is hilarious. But songs that are normally in films are the worst things I have ever heard. But in this movie, The Trap, it was phenomenal, and there was nothing bad I could say about them. So then Oh, and kudos to the writer, whoever wrote this, and I guess the director, because he really puts it to life when he decides to create a film. The director honestly does play a huge role. So I guess kudos to the director and the writer. You both did a phenomenal job because you kind of could and couldn't see where things were going. I wrote down with the shirts. I watched the show a month ago, almost 2 months ago. So I have no idea what that. Oh my goodness, it was 2 months ago. So I have no idea what I meant by that, but I think it was when that black guy was speaking to Josh and he was gonna give him a shirt in the back room. We didn't know if he was gonna kill that guy, if he was gonna what, but when he was telling Josh, oh, what's going on, it was really fascinating because I always like, okay, yeah, I wrote it down. It's more thrilling when the audience knows more than the character. And what I mean by that is, I mean, it's self-explanatory, but what I mean by that is, for an instance, Jaws, if we see the shark, but the people don't see the shark, they don't realize they're in danger, it makes us super frightened because it's like, we don't care if you find help or if you don't, we just want you to be aware of your situation, which is weird, but psychologically, it's true. In horror films, you feel more safe when there are two people than when there is one. And you feel more safe when the person is aware of their situation, even if it's deadly or dangerous. So that's why it's very exciting, and it kind of keeps you on the edge of your seats when the audience knows more than the actual character. So I really appreciated that because I feel like in films they don't understand that, because I have not seen that in a long time. I believe the film I want to mention is Day One, A Quiet Place, and that they knew everything. They somehow just knew everything. Of course, like, some people didn't know, but it didn't really make me afraid. Like, nothing really made you super tense, if you know what I mean. So, like, to be able to do that in this way is one of the best ways, I would say, to make someone scared while watching a film. Anyways, now I also loved when, I think she was a profiler, the older lady, she knew that he was gonna use the fire alarm, and she said if he does, then only women and children can go through. All the men and boys will have to be checked. And I really liked that because it was, when you watch films like that, that's normally how it goes. They pull the fire alarm, everyone leaves, and they all panic while he's super calm and nonchalant about it, and he just continues to walk. But it was kind of a twist because that's not something you normally see. And she was somewhat of a narrator because she explained what he was going to do before he did it, which made it even more exciting. So yeah, honestly, some films are meant to sit with you, some films are meant to inspire you, and some films are just meant to be enjoyable. Because this film, even though it was different psychologically, it was thrilling and dark and different, it also didn't really stick with you for long. It just made it was just a very enjoyable film to enjoy in the moment. You could only enjoy it while watching it, not while it was over with. And it's not something you can necessarily quote or go back to or mention. It's just something to really enjoy. So if you're wanting a different cool film, this would definitely be it. And now there was I wrote this, I was riding while watching the film, and I wrote half face older lady, what does that mean? So that's going to be a question that you will have while watching the film, and then at the end it'll be explained. And I can't stand watching movies with people that always ask questions when they were there the entire time. They heard everything you heard, but there's like a mystery in the film and no one honestly knows what it is, and they ask you as if you wrote the script. And I hate it because these are the questions that you will have, but you have to understand that it will be answered at the end of the film. Now, okay, so there was another question I asked. I said he realizes she has asthma, half face, why? Because normally when you film, a shot where it's a close-up, you're either trying to capture someone's emotions or you're trying to capture their feelings. In a way, if they feel dark and twisted, you do a close-up to express their facial like features and what they're doing. Or if they're feeling anxious or like they're being suffocated or whatever, you'll do a close-up so that the audience also has that uneasy feeling with the character. So I was confused as to why they would do a close-up right after she used her inhaler for her asthma, but that's also explained later on. There were some things I was like, but the character is not a typical psychopath, because most of the time people are like, I can't really explain without spoiling it, and I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, I will say it's very different than what you're used to, because when you think, oh, it's gonna go there, it doesn't. It like creates a new path, and it's something not expected throughout the entire film, which was so fun. Anyways, so then after, so you need to take note that I was writing each line that I wrote was while I was watching the film, which is funny because after I wrote that he realized she had asthma, I wrote the contrast of her kindness and the thinker's rudeness. I think that's what the guy's name was. Someone she featured in her song was called, I think, the Thinker. Anyways, he was extremely rude. Unlike her, Raven, she was extremely kind. And I was wondering why, because it really captured, when a director is able to capture different things and have a viewer recognize it like that, and they don't have to be so obvious about it. I was obviously trying to take in every little thing I could of the film so that I can dissect it later, and literally all of these questions get asked, and whoever, I think, I don't know if it's he or she, whoever directed this film did a great job with conveying emotion and with like capturing different things that they wanted you to notice without, like I said, making it obvious, because sometimes it can be a little too obvious and annoying. So that's that. The longest time. Now, I don't feel bad with spoiling that the dad was a psychopath, because you almost immediately notice that, and I never watched the trailer. So what I've done, and I encourage you guys to do, is don't watch the trailer to any movie you're about to watch, because the trailer is not only one, misleading, two, this is actually true, and I've recognized it with different films that I've watched. When I watch a trailer than the films, you get excited, and it's subconscious, but you don't realize it. You'll get excited about a specific scene, and sometimes the scene won't even be in the movie and you won't even realize it. So what they do is they actually create the trailer before the film is completed in order to excite people before they actually produce the film. So because they want to know how big does this look like, so that can also help with their marketing team. So that's also another thing. It's very, very misleading. You don't actually get the full picture. The trailer is supposed to hype people up for the film, but if you intend on watching the film, there's no need to watch the trailer. Most of the time you can't really skip it, because if you go to a movie, it'll already show like different trailers or trailers of different movies that are coming out, which is fine. But the last thing I want to mention, when you don't watch a trailer and you watch the movie, it's much more interesting, because you have no clue what's going on, you have no clue where things are going, and it's just, you kind of had to figure it out, and that's what's exciting about film. Unless you watch a rom-com, a Hallmark, or a chick flick, you're just enjoying the film, so it doesn't really matter. But if you're watching a different like Twister, it doesn't have to be something that's dark or a horror film. Those are just movies I'm interested in. But if you want to watch a movie like Twister, the tornado movie, you can also watch that and enjoy it and have no clue what's going on, and you have to figure it out throughout the film. I just think it's much more enjoyable. I encourage you guys to do it. I mean, if you don't like it, then that's fine. Sometimes you kind of need to watch the trailer to know if you're gonna like it, but within the first 5 to 10 minutes, you should know. So then, what I was gonna say is the location in the first, it was pretty much the whole film. At least it felt like it. I didn't mark the duration that I was at, but it felt like for about 30 minutes, the film was shot in a concert, well, in a building where the concert was taking place. And of course, it showed different locations of the place. But I've watched movies where it's just one building, but they actually don't explore much and they don't make it interesting enough. They will show a few characters, a few interactions, and a few different like sceneries within the building. And that's also why I got tired of Disney Channel. I know it sounds stupid, but Girl Meets World also drove me insane because it was like 3 locations and they didn't do enough with it, and it wasn't funny enough to care. It was actually really cringe. I even knew it at that age. But a lot of the times I need water. A lot of the times, movies have not done a good enough job making the location interesting, because we subconsciously enjoy films that have different locations, different people, different things that are, it's gotta be crazy, constantly going. But if a director and a writer is able to make one location in the movie good and interesting, like that one movie I watched, I think it's like Heretic, that was actually very good, and it was all in one building, like the entire time, and it was very good. I wouldn't praise it that much because there were some downfalls to the film, which I will discuss later, but I want to like do some research on it before I talk about it. But yeah, so one location but many layers is what I wrote down, because it's really hard for writers and directors to pull that off, but they did great. And then I wrote, there's a decision she has to make, which is called, oh, I forgot. I really wish I knew what that meant, because in my mind I'm thinking that was something deep and I have no idea what that means. I know what it was. When the girl Raven, she gets the Josh's phone. I don't want to give him his nickname because I don't give it away. When she gets his phone, she has to make a decision on I think it was either oh no, she doesn't get his phone. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. She has to make the decision to have this one person die and have the serial killer, which is the dad, revealed, or she has to so it's basically one person dies but she is able to capture the serial killer, or the serial killer escapes by her permission, and that person gets to live. But the problem is the person isn't set free. He's still trapped, but he still gets to live. He won't die immediately. So there's a decision she has to make. And movies don't actually do that anymore, which you will be like, what do you mean? They don't. I can't even think of one that I've watched recently that has had a person in the film make a strong decision. Now I'm confused because I forgot I had a cinnamon roll. I said when he said one more, he wasn't referring to the Lady Does. I remember saying there was one more person he had to kill. Oh, Lady Raven. Her name was Lady Raven. So when he said there was one person he had to kill, he was referring to a person. It wasn't the boy. It wasn't Lady Raven. I can't tell you who it was, but it was a specific person, which he was ahead of the profile, and the profiler was ahead of him because they collaborated with a specific person that he didn't really notice about until the end. I'm doing a podcast.
Are you talking to me?
Oh, yeah. I was doing a podcast. Okay, and now when she said, okay, now the plot twist of the actual trap, in the beginning you think there's a certain trap that we'll go through. That doesn't work. And there are like multiple traps that happen, which that's what I mean when I say layers. And it's not in the concert the entire time, so don't feel like it's gonna be suffocating because it's in one building. It does eventually move outside and into different buildings, but the first trap doesn't work, obviously, and you kind of have a feeling it doesn't work. And then the second one doesn't work, and you think, oh no, and then, yeah, it's just kind of a twister. Because I don't want to spoil it. I could do a version where I do spoil it and one I don't spoil, but I'd rather just make it simple and do one video. So yeah, there are multiple layers, multiple traps, and multiple that do and don't work until they do. Anyways, and then for some reason, I was rooting for him to escape. Now, I want to know, I would love to speak with the writer and the director, and I would want to know if they wrote it so that the audience would want him to escape. Because sometimes they do write it in that way, and sometimes they don't. I don't necessarily know, but I would want to know if they did it so that we would wish he would escape. Because he was technically, we could put him in the category of a villain, and most of the time you don't want the villain to win, but they might have written it in a way that would make us want the villain to win. Okay, so that was all of my notes and everything that I had for that film. So yeah, that movie is called Trap. I believe it came out, The Trap, and I believe it came out last year, 2024. I didn't go to the theater to watch it, but it probably would have been a great film to watch in the theater. I watched it on an airplane, so it was really tiny, but it was a great movie no matter what. And I really, yeah, don't even watch the trailer. Just watch the movie and check it out, and then comment down below what you think of it. And if you have seen it, then comment down below what you think of it, because I would love to know what you guys think. Anyways, thank you guys for watching my video. If you like this video, you can of course hit a thumb up. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching this video, and if you would like to see more of my content, you can hit the subscribe button and check out my channel. And I hope I can stay consistent. I keep saying see you next Saturday, but I don't know when I will update you guys. I just recorded 2 videos, so you guys should be getting them one after the other. So hopefully every week I can be able to deliver. Anyways, thank you guys and bye. Now I'm confused because I forgot I had a cinnamon roll.